It's Tuesday, July 29th.
There is a landing zone that's possible, but we have to get there.
Not there yet. Prime Minister Mark Carney saying trade talks with the U.S. are at an intense phase right now, ahead of Friday's tariff deadline.
We're looking more at how to make candidacies fairer, how to make votes more representative.
By-election ballot. There are 209 candidates listed for a by-election in Alberta next month. 10 of those candidates will debate tonight.
I'm just crossing over today to go eat Chinese food in Summerside. So yeah, that's going to encourage me to do that a little more.
People in Atlantic Canada will be paying less to ride ferries and to use the Confederation Bridge. But there are questions in other parts of the country about helping to pay the bill.
Ontario stood up the provincial auto theft team, working very closely with Montreal Police and Sûreté.
Sharp drop. Car thefts are down across Canada, especially in Ontario and Quebec. Stay with us, Canada. Your morning starts right now. Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Teddy Wilson, in for the one and only Lindsey Deluce.
I'm Kelsey McEwen. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday indeed. Let's turn right to some of the news headlines we're following for you here this morning. We'll begin with trade. The U.S. tariff deadline, as I'm sure you know, a few days away. Prime Minister Mark Carney says talks have hit an intense phase.
The United States and Canada can do many good things together. We have done that in the past. We can do more in the future, but on fair terms for our country.
The U.S. set to hit Canada with a 35% tariff on non-CUSMA compliant goods on Friday. Prime Minister Carney called the talks complex and repeated his goal to sign only the right deal for Canadians. He also said Canada's deal with the United States won't necessarily look like the ones signed by other countries. As the talks continue, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper says Ottawa recently reached out to him for some advice.
We've got to kind of get something short-term worked out with the Trump administration, but this really is a wake-up call for this country to truly diversify its trade export markets.
Appearing at a conference in Saskatoon, former Prime Minister Harper also said Canada should no longer rely on the U.S. for security. Elections Canada are sharing their plans to deal with a massive ballot in an Alberta by-election being held next month.
It's very interesting. I don't think it's ever happened before, at least not to this extent.
There are 209 confirmed candidates on the ballot in Battle River Crowfoot, the riding where Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is running. Only 7 people on the ballot have political party affiliations. The others are independents, with most part of the advocacy group, the Longest Ballot Committee, who are protesting our first-past-the-post electoral system. In order to avoid a massive ballot, Elections Canada has created an adapted ballot where voters can write in the name of the candidate they're voting for. 10 candidates, including Poilievre, are set to debate tonight. The by-election happens August 18th. Well, the cost to cross the Confederation Bridge goes down to $20 on Friday.
28 years. Islanders have paid hundreds of millions of dollars to cross that bridge.
Ottawa says the move will save millions of dollars for people and businesses using the only roadway connection between New Brunswick and PEI. Right now, it costs a little more than $50 to use the bridge. Ottawa also announced ferry fares in Atlantic Canada will be reduced by half. While the price cut is being welcomed in Atlantic Canada, British Columbia's premier is wondering why people across the country need to help pay the bill.
We have to watch the federal government show up on the East Coast and subsidize ferry users that already get a $300 subsidy per each $1 that a BC ferry user gets.
Reducing the Confederation Bridge toll and ferry rates was a Liberal campaign promise from the last election. Canada is adding $30 million in humanitarian funding in Gaza, while also pushing for a 2-state solution at the United Nations.
We are here today because this moment demands political courage and resolve. And we must stand together and choose a different path, one that leads toward a sustainable and a just solution.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand also announcing $10 million to accelerate form and capacity building for the Palestinian Authority. Canada hasn't joined France in announcing plans to recognize a Palestinian state. Instead, they're saying the Palestinian Authority must, quote, undertake the comprehensive reforms necessary to govern Gaza and the West Bank. 4 people, including a police officer, are dead after a shooting in New York.
4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys. His wife is pregnant with their 3rd child.
Police say the attacker walked into the lobby of an office building on Park Avenue and then opened fire. He went up to the 33rd floor and opened fire again. The officer killed has been named as Didarul Islam. He was working security at the time. The other 3 victims have not been named. Businesses including Blackstone, KPMG, and the NFL have offices in the building. The alleged attacker is said to have driven to New York from Las Vegas. Police say he has known mental health issues and they're still working on a motive. The man convicted in the fatal stabbing of an optician in Halifax has been given a life sentence.
I think it's fair to say, in talking to all those people, that this was a shocking event. It did have a big impact on the community at large. It was, I think, something that nobody could have anticipated.
Tony Nader was killed in December 2021 after he was attacked while helping a customer. Simon Felix Cormier was convicted on first-degree murder in June after a judge rejected an argument that he was not criminally responsible. A first-degree murder conviction comes with an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Well, for the 2nd year in a row, car thefts are trending down in Canada. Industry groups are crediting the relationship between the federal and provincial governments, as well as police.
It started with the provinces, Ontario and Quebec, funding for law enforcement.
In a report released Monday, the number of cars reported stolen nationally dropped 19.1% in the first half of 2025 compared with the same period last year. A little more than 23,000 cars were reported stolen between January and June of this year. The decline is noticeable in Ontario and Quebec, who have seen drops of 25.9% and 22.2%, respectively. Experts also cautioning people not to get complacent, as stealing cars is still a lucrative way to fund organized crime. Well, Eugenie Bouchard is not done yet.
Makes it. Would you believe it?
Bouchard needed 3 sets to beat Colombia's Emiliana Arango in the first round of the National Bank Open. The win also happens to be Bouchard's 300th singles victory. Bouchard announced her retirement before the tournament, saying she wants to end her tennis career at home in Montreal. She takes on Belinda Bencic tomorrow. Well, for Elvin Mitchell, golf isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life.
I got something to do. It's better than sitting home and watching TV.
Go Elvin. So the 100-year-old spent his 100th birthday at the Thompson Lake Golf Course, celebrating and, of course, playing around. He golfs 18 holes starting at 1:30 p.m. every day with his 3 buddies, regardless of the weather. So cool. He keeps busy in the off-season as well, playing cribbage, shuffleboard. He also bowls. Wow. And just from a little bit of the look of it, way better golfer than I am right out of the gate.